for Britain, episode 163, with myself and Peter Stewart. Good morning, Peter. Where are you today?
Oh, well, I'm everywhere today. Where do you want me to go? I'm sitting in my office, my new office, and it's in Aberdeen, and it's beside a harbour, and it's nice and eerie looking today.
Right. So this is Blabbing for Britain, episode 163, and Peter is actually using a toy that well, it's not a toy, it's a real piece of software. Is using XSplit VCAM. There you go. I knew you would, you see. I predicted it. It's on my agenda. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And morning from Fonz. Fonz, if you want to join us, you're more than welcome to do so. We have a spare seat this week, and I'm going to put the link in now. And you can join us. And hello to Alfredo. Now, Alfredo had the shock of his life this morning when he said, "Is this a bot?" Attached to the show this morning in the comments, if you make a comment, you'll get a reply from a messenger bot, and it's a very special messenger bot because it actually replies in the comments. Most bots send you a message in Messenger. This bot replies directly within the Facebook post to your first comment. So we've got to have, so it's all new today. Blabbing for Britain is on. Alfredo saying thought he made a mistake, and we'll be blabbing on Twitch, but we don't blab on Twitch. We always blab on Facebook. So no, you'll not find Blabbing for Britain on Facebook. And we say good morning to. Morning, John.
Morning. Peter looks like he's got wings beating behind him.
I don't know how to stop that.
Well, basically, we can practice. You've got to have the good lighting, yeah.
Yeah.
And what have you got a hood? You're wearing a hood today?
Yeah.
No, it's the back of his chair.
It's my chair.
Yeah. Right. Okay. But if you change back to if you change back to the background you had before.
All right. Okay. Right.
The green one.
Okay. Yes, I'll go and do that. The icons disappeared. Hold on.
Okay. All right. So we're going to travel the world with Peter. We're going back to Aberdeen. And
sorry, I don't know that.
Alexa, shut up.
I was watching a program the other day on iPlayer on my my little little tablet, which is to the side, and it said something about blah blah blah, and next thing I'm getting the full details of the country from my it's
Alexa.
not an Echo.
No.
It's the other one.
Google Home. What is it?
It is a Google Home, yeah.
Google Home. Oh, that's better, Peter. Let's just put that full screen. That works. That works.
Still flappy like mad. Now it's underneath his left arm and behind his right.
John, perfection we aim for. We rarely achieve it. It does in fact sort of mix up things, and it'd be ideal. Peter and I were just talking before the show to put a series of slides together and to be able to tell a story about a particular area as you travel through it, and it's better than.
So have you actually got a green screen behind you, Peter?
Peter,
No,
could you explain?
No. This is something called XSplit. You know, if you've got it on TV.
Yeah, I've seen the XSplit on
yeah.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know it, this is if you've got a real untidy office like me, and you don't want to show anybody how bad it is, all you do is you get the XSplit and you put up very nice pictures and things of your own area, etc., etc. If you remember that.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And
we do. We say good morning to Alfredo.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
What
just
time
to let
is
you
California, Alfredo?
It's about 2 a.m.
So you haven't gone to bed yet?
I don't know the definition of bed right now.
Well, I was up till 2 a.m. cutting up bits of card. I don't know if you see the RSVP card for my daughter's wedding, having spent the day before creating the invitations. And she was coming over to stuff them in envelopes this morning, but she's not coming. So,
Stephen, I had a quick question. Do you know if Fawn's is gonna come in, or is?
Well, Fonz is around, I know, because he just commented. Fonz has had a surreal thought, Peter. How weird would it look if you really outside now, a guy in the garden sat at the desk? In other words, you've got to move to the location.
Well, I've got to tell you, I've actually done that live, and it was funny when I was in Berlin a few years ago, and I was sitting speaking to camera, and the amount of looks I got from Berlin folk, and all looking and said, "Oh, strange dude." But everybody does it. There's people talking to cameras all the time now.
We did it when I was on holiday, if you remember. I was sat outside the caravan.
Yeah.
Right. A suggestion from Kelly, Peter, get a Tour de France background.
A Tour de France. I could easily get that.
Yeah, from Yorkshire.
Yes.
The Yorkshire tour, yeah.
I'm looking down to see what it's like on screen.
Right, Fonz is out and about watching on the go.
He can't log in via his phone, right?
He's busy.
Oh, he's busy. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. He set aside a time for shows, and Fonz and I are 2 o'clock on Tuesdays. So on Wednesdays, he's allowed to go out and do what he wants. Right. Okay. Down to cases, and we'll come back to XSplit shortly. This is Blabbing for Britain now, episode 163. Okay, we've got to have a Brexit story.
Okay.
Sorry, Peter.
Huh.
Well, I've got a Brexit story for you.
Okay.
I was just on Facebook before this, we were commenting on old pictures from Berlin that we were on, and Nigel Dunkley, my officer, he was there, and the Brits have just been issued locally the summons to come in and register as foreigners in Germany. So they have to go and they have to sign up. I don't know if they're getting a badge to wear. If you know
no, that's a step too far, Pete. I mean, but there's going to be. I mean, there's going to be tit for tat all over Europe.
Yes.
You know, you're telling us to book. You're telling us to go away, and we don't like it. Sorry, John.
I was going to say, does that mean that the German police can go up and go, Ausweis bitte?
Well, I actually seen that one day too. I was sitting in the Berlin railway station, and 2 cops and 2 youngsters, they were problem with dogs in there, and it was so eerie. Ausweis bitte, and the hand went out, and I went, oh, where am I? Have I went back in time here? But no, so what Nigel's doing, this is a chap that by the way, Fonz, if you're listening, Nigel Dunkley in Berlin, he does tours, a very fascinating chap. And he actually does tours, World War IIs, Cold War tours, etc. He was actually Rudolf Hess's interpreter, etc. But he says he's going to buy a dog, and you know what he's going to call it in Germany? Brexit. It's going to go. I asked him. I mean, he's like he's been there for years and speaks a lot of Latin. I asked him, "Are you going to change your nationality?" And he goes, "Absolutely not. He's not changing his nationality."
Okay. Well, Brexit is still a basket case.
Yeah.
So when is the deadline of the actual exit of the, is it EU or the UK that's exiting? I'm not quite clear.
Nobody knows.
Oh dear.
The 29th of March.
Yes.
March. 29th March. Okay.
The big debate here is Donald Tusk's what do you call it? I
thought it was a good statement, personally.
I thought he was frustrated as something, and he just had enough.
Yeah. He was being a human being.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Like when you
Frustration.
showed.
Right.
Hang on, where's the genie? We're expecting the genie to pop out.
No, see, when you're out on a picnic in a lovely place like this, you've got to have your flask.
I'd rather you were just back in your office or your kitchen or wherever. We flicker so much, it's annoying.
What? This one? I know. Yeah, do you know there's a bit? It says you click it right, and it says basically take away the chair. No, it hasn't done it. It must be too big a chair. Is that better?
Yeah, it works better if you don't move, which is a challenge, Pete. It's around your head. Your heads, well, our heads, are the problem. In that, if we move, then it's got to fight to keep up with us. What you do need is great lighting, yeah. And in addition to that, you need to have the processor power, because it does take some processor power to actually do it. And every time you move, Pete, it's like watching special effects. All right, your head disappears when you move, which unintended effects.
Do I look very white?
Yeah. When I did the first broadcast from Stonehenge, the unfortunate effect was, and I don't have much anyway, that it looked like my hair was blowing in the wind. So yeah, you just got unintended consequences of having a backdrop. I think it works best when you're actually solo broadcasting. But
right, okay.
It's good fun. It's for a change anyway. Why not? Yeah. Okay. Right. So we've done Brexit. We haven't a clue. They haven't a clue. It's going to be interesting what happens today. But let's go on to another story, which is all about Facebook. Okay. Germany has ordered Facebook to gather less data.
What?
Or to suffer penalties. There are different laws for Facebook in every country around the world. And Germany is saying that data that Facebook, when we go on Facebook, it lays down cookies. Yep. So Facebook can track where we are. But using those cookies, now I'm willing to be corrected by John, they can actually see which websites we go to afterwards. Yeah.
Well, you can interpret cookies on anybody's hard drive if you've got the know-how. So yeah.
Yeah. Or Facebook have got the know-how, and when we are on Facebook and we go to another site, it knows which site we've been to, and it records that, and it knows the next site we go to and records that, and it keeps on recording the sites. Now, the magic for marketing people would be to combine the two together. Now, in every other country around the world, that's what happens. Your surfing habits are added to your profile on Facebook, and Facebook can use them and they can market their data anonymously. Mm-hmm. Germany have just said that to Facebook, you cannot, well, you can gather data from the sites that people visit, but you cannot link it back to the profile. I think that's common sense, isn't it?
So they track the activity, but they don't track who went to. Okay, that makes sense.
No,
they can't show you personalized adverts.
Oh, okay.
Indeed. Right. Indeed. That would be the effect of it, that they can't actually.
So when my pots and pans customer wants to place an advert, he can't any longer. If they go that way, he wouldn't be able to say, I want to see all the people who visited my pages or my website. Or
yeah.
I want to kill a mouse who's the best person in Aberdeen, all of that goes out the window.
Right, okay. So there's nothing we can do about it. Germany is sorting it out. If Germany do it, then no doubt we'll follow. I think, well, if you want them to collect your data, you would have to opt in. Yeah. So Facebook would have to say, we're collecting data about you when you visit other sites. Is that okay with you? And if you don't do anything, then they can't do it. And if you say yes, they can do it.
And if you don't want them to know, use an incognito page.
But the internet service providers are still able to track it, even though if you use incognito.
Yeah,
right?
but
Yeah.
in theory, Facebook should be able to track it. No, the internet service providers can.
Yeah. Okay. Just a minute. I'm just
Silence
checking.
is golden.
It is. Yeah. I just got a link from Alfredo. I'm just trying to decipher it. Right.
No. What I'm trying to do, Stephen, is I may switch to the phone just to
All
showcase.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's to remind yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. No problem. Okay. Right. Now then, talking about adverts. Spotify bought Anchor yesterday. With out of the petty cash, a few hundred million, bought Anchor, which is one of the leading podcasts sites, and that's good news for Anchor users because it gives them access to Spotify and therefore a larger audience. But Spotify have said,
"Drop me down." Guess what? The doorbell's just rang.
The parcel's arrived. Right. Spotify's have bought Anchor, which is a good move, and will be loved by Anchor podcasts, including myself, because you can actually then easily go and put your podcast on Spotify and elsewhere. But it does give Spotify the power to actually put targeted ads in there, and you'd have advertisements in podcasting. Yeah, that's fair.
Have you ventured into the podcast area yet, Stephen, or just?
Yeah, I'm on Alexa. Hello.
Hi.
Right, I'm on Alexa with a skill, and I've got a podcast on iTunes. He said, "That sounds very good, doesn't it?" The other bit of it is I haven't done it for 2 months, so yeah. But yes, I've ventured into podcasts. Using Anchor is brilliant because you put the podcast in Anchor and it goes out to about 12 other sites at the same time. So it's a great way to actually get the message out. I do feel though you've got to make content specially for it. If we just reposition, take the audio off a video, then especially if the video is visual, I mean, if anybody caught the podcast of this show, then they would not see Peter's magnificent background. They'd hear us talking about it, but they wouldn't know what we're actually looking at. So I think you do have to do the broadcast or podcast separately as something special.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a parcel, John?
It was indeed a to be signed for parcel for my daughter. It's like Parcel Central here, you know.
What do you call an envelope then? Is it still a parcel?
Now that's an envelope.
Okay.
So, Education 101. Well, show us an envelope, John.
It's about this big.
All right. Okay. Fine.
We have 2 classes of envelope in the UK.
Oh, let John take over. Explain envelopes, John.
Right, that's a standard sort of envelope, and we have a longer envelope, and then anything larger than that is called a large envelope, and you have to pay 2 different rates for your envelope.
We in the U.S. we have the U.S. Postal Service. There are other companies like UPS, FedEx. Those are the 2 popular ones that I know of. There are other smaller delivery companies. As far as parcel size, I think they all vary in terms of size and rates. But yeah, UPS, FedEx, and the United States Postal Service are the 3 major parcel delivery services in the U.S. So just wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah, well, we have those and a couple of others.
We have one called Amazon.
Amazon?
Yeah, delivers very frequently.
Wait, I thought Amazon was more of a company than delivery service.
But their delivery service is pretty good. On Saturday afternoon, I ordered some inserts and some envelopes for use for the wedding. I ordered them about 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, and they were delivered before 10 a.m. Sunday.
A lot of people hate Amazon over here, but we'll all use it.
Yeah.
Wait. Why
because they don't pay taxes in this country. They pay next to no tax in the UK.
So what did they hate
the Luxembourg address where the tax is like 4%?
So is the hate from the taxes or is it the service? I'm not quite sure.
There's nothing wrong with the service. There's nothing wrong with the products on Amazon. It's the fact that when you get an invoice, here is one. Up in the top left-hand corner, the invoice address is 38 Avenue John F. Kennedy, Luxembourg. So they're not paying any VAT in the UK, which is value-added tax, and then they're not paying much on their profits because the profits happen in Luxembourg, which is like a tiny little country in the middle of Europe.
So when Brexit comes in on the 29th, Alfredo, the British government said any tax not passed on to the customers, of course, you will have an X tax to pay for your trade in Britain, even though you're in Luxembourg. We want some of that money that you're...
International politics can be a real pain sometimes.
Yeah, but they have 19 depots in the UK. These are not little tiny places. These are giant multi-acre warehouses.
That's nothing. Kelly's saying they've got bubble wrap envelopes in Canada.
We have bubble wrap envelopes as well.
Oh, here we go. It's the envelope show with John.
I haven't got one here.
You've not got one?
Alfredo, one of the problems with all the online sellers in the UK is our high streets, which, bricks and mortar, very expensive bricks and mortar, are all shutting down because they've not really got a fair advantage. It's not a same playing field, and that's the problem. However, some of them should have moved with the times too.
Yeah,
the market share, right?
Let's move forward. Right, some advice, medical advice today, from the Department of Health and from doctors, and they're saying screen time, which we come to again and again. Children are being advised not to use electronic devices at the meal table at dinner.
Oh, yeah, I struggle with that a lot.
Well, yeah, it's not just children, is it? How can you eat and surf at the same time? No, tell me, how can you eat and surf at the same time?
Well, you get either a smaller device, right? And then you just put it in front of you and watch it. It's usually a video playing. You're not really surfing for stuff. It's more like a YouTube video being played on a small tablet, and then you just watch and eat.
They're not allowed at our dinner table and haven't been.
Well,
etc.
I have to wean them off of their habit because it was bad. It was a bad choice on our part. So we have to wean them off of. Okay, 5 more minutes in dinner time. You got to put the devices away. But of course,
how
they don't
old
listen.
are they, Alfredo?
They're still young enough so that we can break their habits. One is 2, the other one is 11.
Well, mine is a bit different because we only have all 5 of us around the table when 2 of them come to visit, and the no phone rule applies then because mine are 25, 27, 29, and 32. And it's hard work saying to them they can't have their phone.
And they're adults. Wow.
Yeah. Just to, in our house, phones are not used until after the meal. Yeah, you can't tuck into a meal, and anyway, it's obviously a personal thing, but we're being advised that children should not use them during dinner. Okay. Right. Okay. Just going on to the next one. Do you want to buy an airline? Thomas Cook
Wow.
are selling theirs. 103 planes, owned and leased. Yeah, I mean, the boss of Ryanair said that he expected this year that several European airlines will go to the wall and disappear entirely, which obviously is good news for Ryanair. But this is not going to the wall. This airline makes profit of 129 million a year. So it's a sort of corporate decision that they don't. I mean, Thomas Cook Holidays been going for yonks. Now that they've got the airline that takes the people on the holidays, but now they're looking to sell it. So if you're looking for an airline, Thomas Cook's have got one. Okay,
Oh, sorry. I wanted to. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I wanted to clarify. Are they more consumer or more delivery airlines? I mean, is it a?
It's people going on holiday. It's strictly holiday makers. Thomas Cook.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you acquired by Virgin, haven't they?
Yeah. Which brings us neatly into your territory, John. Virgin are testing 8 gigabits broadband.
Yeah. Have you actually found out that it's only 5 houses in Cambridge?
It's 5 houses. It's 5. But the magical thing here is that it's 8 gigabits download and 8 gigabits upload.
Yeah.
Which means that you could download a 5 gigabit film in 5 seconds.
Wow, that's big.
That's fast. I mean, you should go back to dial-up modems when it used to take a week.
But do we have to move to the 5 houses to get the speeds, or just?
Well, this is simply a test. Their plan actually is to roll out 4 gigabits, but it is another 2 years for that rollout to begin. I've currently got Virgin. I have 240 up and 20 down, and it's more than fast enough for me.
It's on my wish list.
I am the lower end of the spectrum in terms of speed. I only have 3 meg down, 1 meg up. I think it was described as T3 at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's defined here as what? You can't possibly work with that.
Well, I manage, but it works. So
we still have places in the UK where they get as low as 512k down.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, just going back to Amazon for a minute. Kelly's saying my cousin is a reseller and uses Amazon all the time, and the scanner they have, they buy stuff from thrift stores and resell it like Pickers or Storage Wars.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we get Storage Wars in the UK, but I don't think we've ever had the program Pickers. Storage Wars is a TV program where you go and buy a big locker that the rent hasn't been paid on, and you potluck to what's inside it.
There is a Pickers program. It's a Welsh guy. He goes round and he goes round and takes old furniture and things and turn it into things that people buy. It's quite popular. I've forgotten his name, but it's quite popular.
I've got noises off somewhere. John, are you unscrewing a?
It was me.
That's him.
Right.
He's got his
I correctly identified it as a thermos flask.
This is like a shell going into a tank. Whoosh. I'm liking my new flask.
Okay.
Pickers is on in the UK. It's called American Pickers, and it's on Dave.
Yeah, it's on Dave.
At some ridiculous hour in the morning.
Yeah, but you can watch it and catch up.
Yeah, if I watch catch up, I'd never get any work done. I'm imagine on iPlayer. I'm halfway through Ambulance Australia at the moment, and that's 12 programs. Each 1 minute short of an hour. Actually, very good.
Yeah, I was just too much TV to watch now, so that's the problem.
Yeah, but you not only watch TV, you spent half of your life on bloody YouTube.
Yeah, but no, we watch Netflix a lot.
I tell you what, Pete, you look like you're dead.
I know it's fighting. What would that be with?
God only knows. You're sending your camera by me. The picture's absolutely brilliant, but you look like you've just stepped off the ghost train, mate.
The monster, one of the monsters.
One of the monsters. Yeah. Can you come with your Bolton next week?
He's crazy and he's cookie. The lady.
and your body keeps disappearing at time. I mean, you've got no left hand at the moment. I think I'd give it up, Pete, and go back to reality.
Fuck my real one.
No, you're real you.
Listen, I've got a football story. It's quite a sad.
Hang on, just a second. Football, did you say?
Yes, it's a sad football story.
When we mention football.
Is it the right time for the other team to be asking the money for that poor guy that went into the water? I've forgotten the names because I'm not.
Well, the thing is, they'd signed the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. The money was due weeks ago.
Okay.
Before he was even disappeared. Yes.
Right.
They removed the body from the aircraft, but they haven't told us who it is.
Yes.
We got one body.
Right. The background to this story, Alfredo, is that Cardiff signed a player, and he was playing for Nantes, which is a team in France. And he went back to Nantes to say goodbye to his former colleagues, and then took a private flight from Nantes to Cardiff. The plane disappeared, and they've just found it 2 weeks afterwards.
Oh, wow.
At the bottom of the sea.
And as Peter was saying, they're now being asked to pay the first instalment. And they're saying no, they're not saying they won't pay it, they're saying they won't pay it until after a certain event has taken place.
But the thing is, they were insured.
Ah, okay. Well, there.
Yes. All these players are insured. And the moment he signed the contract, he went on to the... What's happened to Pete? Is he on fire?
He's gone darker.
I'm sorting things out.
Right. Well, I'll drop Pete for a second while
he went on to the insurance policy.
Right. Okay. You're
So
flickering,
they covered
Peter.
for his fee, which is payable over 3 years. Yeah. And 50% of it goes to his previous club. Because they've got a sell-on clause when he was bought. But they are not covered for loss of earnings, as in what he would have earned for them as a player.
Yeah. It's all sad. It's...
Did you see the pictures from the ground? I've never seen so many daffodils because, you know, daffodils are in season, and daffodil is the Welsh national flower. And there's millions of them, and I'm probably exaggerating in millions, but there's certainly hundreds of thousands of them outside the Cardiff ground. Because they, you know, you can buy them for 95p to £1 for a bunch of a dozen or 10, and they're everywhere.
Am I back?
You're back. I never took you away, Peter. Cause...
You're still a ghostly white, Pete.
Right,
There's holes in the chair now.
Okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to carry on.
Yeah, you're okay. I prefer the picture of the path and the greenery behind you. That worked quite well.
I'll go do that right now. Hold on. Okay.
Right, I'm going to take over the screen for a minute. It doesn't happen very often, but I want to announce something. Fonz Chamberlain and I will be running a 5-hour charity event on the Tuesday, the 26th of February, going from 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the UK, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the eastern coast. And if you have a charity that you support, then you're welcome to come on to the show, explain what your charity is all about, and we'll put in links via messenger bots to actually help people to donate and find out more about your charity. Now, it's open to everybody. We would like as many people as possible to take part. You can come on and talk, or you can just send the links in. We'll promote charities throughout the 5-hour event, so it's not restricted to one charity. This was all the trigger for this was Brigitte Limbanda, who wants to help a gentleman in Africa who's making by hand wheelbarrows. Now, to us in the sort of West, that means nothing, but he's making wheelbarrows which he sells for $29 or $38 to people who couldn't, well, they needed ways of actually transporting goods to market. So they've got their own allotments, as it were, John, and they needed ways of actually transporting the goods to market. He made and sells the barrows. He also charges $1 a day if you just want to hire one. So that's the enterprise that will be featured within the 5-hour broadcast. But we do want everybody who has a charity they support to let us know about it, and we'll publicize it on the 26th. Thank you. This has been a service announcement. Okay, questions?
Who do we send the charity information to?
Me.
Just you?
Yeah. Yeah. If you could send me the links, and if you want to appear on camera, you're more than welcome to do so. If you don't want to appear on camera, just send me more information about it so that I can actually talk about it. But the idea is to have a fundraising event during the 5 hours. I'll be producing the show for the first 4 hours, and then because of constraints placed on us by Facebook, we'd have to start again. So Fonz is producing the second show. So
I had a question about that. Is it possible to do a continuous feed? But that would mean you won't have a replay.
We can't. What we can do is we can go for 4 hours, and then as we did with the 12-hour charity broadcast, we did 3 4-hour shows, which means you restart after each show, and that worked very well. This time round, we're going to have 4 hours hosted by me, and then the final hour, bit of oomph and energy in the final hour as Fonz takes over and produces that show.
Take me off, please.
Okay, Peter, done.
You can hear its phone ringing.
Yeah.
I've got a question, nothing related to your charity. Are you more likely to open an envelope if it has a stamp on it?
The envelope show returns. Carry on.
No. I'm asking you a question. Are you more likely to open an envelope if it has a stamp on it and implies, because it's got a stamp on it, that it's personal mail as opposed to advertising, say?
Oh. So a stamp as opposed to being franked?
Well, like, for instance, that's purely and absolutely definitely advertising material, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Whereas stamp, yeah? So would you open the one with a stamp because you think it's more likely to be personal? No?
I've never actually considered whether if a mail was a personal message to me versus.
But the reason I'm asking, to be honest with it, is because that stamp isn't a stamp at all. It's actually printed on the envelope. So somebody somewhere must have worked out that there must be some psychology in putting a stamp, even though it's not real, but it does look real.
Yeah, it would maybe make you want to open it because no, you don't
want to. You open it because it's got a. I mean, I've got 4 pieces of mail this morning, 3 which are clearly, really, that's advertising.
So
those from a Barclaycard
going on John's show, this what do you call it? The envelope show. What was it?
Yeah, with the envelope.
I did receive a letter from a recruiter saying Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, and it was sent in an envelope with a stamp on it.
All right.
Yeah.
See, I've opened that one now, and it's, do I want a loan?
So it is possible to print.
I don't want a loan.
No, I don't want the loan. It is possible to print stamps on envelopes now. Is that?
Well, it looks like you can, yeah. 'Cause that's definitely print. But when I picked them up, it stood out because it looked like it had got a stamp on.
There's
By the way, you know how you said that FedEx and that
UPS
Post,
Yeah.
We have what's called the last mile in the UK, where the post office, the Royal Mail, delivers letters, but all the way up to the local sorting office, they're done by a third party, and this is delivered by a third party called secured mail.
How is it different from regular mail?
Well, secured mail might charge. The post office is beeping expensive. Okay, so what they do is they will collect bulk mail, and they'll deliver it to the local post office. Who'll do the last, who've got the man who comes through the door, but they'll charge less. Hey, come on! All you need now is a white collar, and you'd look like a bishop, Stephen.
Yeah, everyone's going on to different backgrounds, but I can't do that yet because I don't have a green screen or XSplit. But I mean, I can transition to this. Anyhow, I'll transition back so that it's not as distracting.
Stephen, yours is solid.
It is, isn't it? I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Just a second. You can actually see the bridge of size behind me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was in
That's
the
good.
news for some reason, wasn't it?
Well, it was featured in the show on the 15th of Jan. This photograph, by the way, is by Fons Chamberlain, to give credit where credit's due. So you can use your friend's photographs as backdrops as well. I just want to have solidarity with Peter, really, because he and I are both taken with this idea of broadcasting from anywhere in the globe. So there you are.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Next question, and hopefully this will work. Climate change. Scientists are advising that we're heading for the warmest decade since records began in 1850.
Oh, I can't wait.
You want it warmer in Aberdeen, Peter?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm fed up with the cold.
But isn't the climate change affected by the use of fossil fuels, though?
We agree that we've caused it, with the exception of the president of a particular country, where it doesn't exist in Washington, I don't think. Yeah, we've caused global warming. We've got the problem that sea temperatures are rising, and we're going to suffer the consequences. And whilst we might get wonderful weather during the summer in the UK, we're going to pay for it in rises in the sea, and our coast will be changed.
You're disappearing into the bridge now, Stephen.
I'll be back in a minute. Carry on talking about
it. I'm okay here.
Did he change his background right away? Oh.
I don't know.
Okay, it's still there, Stephen. If you're trying.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Carry on talking about anything you want.
Okay. I did want to also give credit where credit's due. The picture that you see here of my local church is by John Bulworth. He took this picture of the front facing of our church. So the graphics also is done by the youth pastor, Ron Tatum. The insignia logo and this south side thing, it's just I didn't do the graphics. It was their talent, and I'm just sharing it with them, with others. So there you go.
So where is the rose garden, Peter?
The rose garden of
behind
Peter, look, it's in a rose garden.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's a rose garden. I think it's just one of the areas that we go into. It could be Hazelhead Park, which is one of the parks that we'll have, because one of the things that you probably don't know is that Aberdeen, there's a competition called Britain in Bloom, and Aberdeen won it 9 times in a row, and they were actually banned from it. Did you know that, John?
Well, Britain in Bloom is regional, so presumably it's your region that you've won 9 times, because Acox Green, which is next to Solihull, they seem to alternate between them for running the West Midlands area, and both of them have been asked to not enter for 1 year.
Yes.
Someone else chance.
Another claim to fame with 9 in a row is the famous Aberdeen chip shop called the Ashvale, which is won 9 times in a row, and then it retired. Undefeated, it said. Used to have a
best chip shop in Scotland.
Yeah, but more was Britain.
Well, last year's top British chip shop was in Stratford upon Avon. You couldn't get bloody in the sea, really, if you try it. Well, much.
Yeah, probably Aberdeen fish.
No, their fish comes from Falmouth, apparently.
So, hold for time, guys. So, it's been a very mild show, would I say? It's a very mild show today.
That's because we've got no Lord Red today, have we?
No, and yeah, so it's quite interesting times.
Well,
there's not much other news about.
Sorry?
There's not much other news about at the moment.
True, Peter. There isn't. It's difficult to find stories to move on. It's always difficult to find good news stories, and there are days when you don't want too many bad news stories on the show.
Well, I was listening to the radio last night, through the night as well, and he says, right, what we want, he says, we want some good news stories. And he says, the people through the other side of the screen, the production team, their faces and their jaws have just dropped. They went, I was on the radio yesterday, phoning in to talk radio and telling them about 14 years without alcohol, and advising people how to handle it, because it's a big struggle for people when they first leave alcohol, and it's what their friends think of them, etc. So I just letting some, how I've handled it in the past 14 years.
Well, Celia liked her red wine oil, and a reasonable quantity on a daily basis, and she's just quit overnight since the heart problem.
Yes.
Now, fingers crossed, fixed. But she hasn't gone back to drinking.
Very good.
I wanted to share some sad news. It's not really like sad where someone got hurt, but I did drop one of my webcams, and I can't use it anymore because the video's not showing.
Hardware problems.
Yeah, hardware problem. But I am still able to do this kind of screen share where that's a picture of my son on my phone, and hopefully I could kind of get the camera going and move around like this. I don't know how clear or crisp it is on Be Live, but at least I have some form of alternative web camera if my other webcam kind of broke. This is what I could use.
Always have a plan B.
Yep.
Yeah, indeed. Peter, you did a talk the other day as well, didn't you?
Yes, I gave a talk about the last week about the Berlin Wall, from my time there, to a local Rotary club. And I said to the guy, go right at the back and take a picture of all the heads, all the people in the room. And he'd done it from the front, and somebody said, not many people there. There are about 50 people there. But he never done a long shot with me away at the front. So, yeah. But what can I do? But no, I actually enjoyed it. And you know what happened? It was actually in an ice rink, and it was an open planned area. And they says, oh, nobody ever comes in at this time. Well, a group of foreign people and whatever, there was a mixture of people come in, and they were making a bit of noise. And I just said, hey, you're quite free to sit down, sit at the back, listen in, I'll be asking questions later. And they all sat down. And when they finished, a guy came up from me and he says, hey, that was really interesting. Thank you very much. We enjoyed that. And this guy came up, he was from Kazakhstan. He said, so were you there? Because I was on about the Russian spies and everything. He says, were you there? And he went, I says, yeah. I says, can you speak Russian? I says, only when I'm in a hurry, you know. And, and it turns out he was from Kazakhstan. He says, I speak. I says, but at the time you were Russian. During that time, you were Russian, you know. So no, it actually gives me a lot of joy giving that story, because you can see people are really interested in what I've got to say. But time was very short. I just couldn't go through everything, but thoroughly enjoyed it. It actually got me back into thought, oh, I need to get out here more. Really done me good.
Is it windy there, Stephen?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm afraid so. It is windy. It's a special effect. Cost me millions to do that.
I think we'll see John getting one of them by the looks of it, because I think it's annoyed him today.
on really windy and really bad weather days, we stay inside and play video games, especially Pac-Man, and you just sit around, play Pac-Man, inside, indoors, stay dry.
Well, that beautiful weather, I'd be away on my bike. Hey, this week, the first week I'm doing a ride leader. I'm a ride leader this week for the first time, taking people out cycling.
Isn't it true, Pete? Nobody turned up, like.
Not yet. It's not been done yet.
Oh, right. Was it just the one day then that you turned up and nobody else?
No, that was my friend's run, and so I went to the cafe. Remember, it was hashtag Billy No Mates. It was a bad day.
Toasted sandwiches that had barely been shown to the toaster.
Yeah, so they can't even toast properly nowadays, you know. But yeah, so that was me. But I'll probably have to curtail my Mondays, and when we stop, I'll tell you what's happening.
Okay. All right. Any final news from Solihull, Aberdeen?
I have some sad news.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter Alice looked after a young man every now and again for her best friend, a 2-year-old. Last Thursday night, he was taken very poorly, and then had a cardiac arrest. He was brought back around from the cardiac arrest. It was determined that he'd got sepsis, and he had another cardiac arrest in the early hours of Friday morning, and sadly he passed away.
That's sad news.
Terrible, because she's the same age as Alice, 27, and she's lost her youngest little 2-year-old. Very, very, very sad. And she's a lovely mum as well. You couldn't find a nicer mum. So that's very sad. Don't know what to say, really, but my daughter was pretty devastated on Friday.
Yeah, because get close to them, you know. And do you know, I know when people are in trouble, like yesterday, and you'd be surprised how many people I met yesterday in trouble business-wise. And I just thought I would send a text to them, you know, a nice text. And it's nice to come back and they say, really, thank you for that. And, you know, so if you know somebody that's got having a problem, a no text or something to tell them you're thinking of them and stuff like that, it actually goes a long, long way. And if you look at my Google for Business, you'll see what I put up. I don't know if you've seen it, but look at my articles, Google for Business, and you'll see what I've put up there. So it's nice to compliment people, and it's nice to actually let them know you're thinking about them in such hard times.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of thinking of others, just a reminder that the 5-hour charity show is on the 26th of February from 9 a.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern. If you have a charity that you support, then just let me know. If you want to appear on camera, please let me know. And we're going to run for 5 hours and hopefully raise funds or awareness. Awareness is there as well of the charities that you support.
Mm-hmm.
And on the 26th of February, if you're in the Birmingham, West Midlands area, We'll be having a Yes Group meeting in central Birmingham, and if you're interested to come, drop me a message and I'll send you the details.
Okay.
Alfredo, do you have any notices that you can give out?
Always have a backup plan of the second camera if your other one fails. And
Yeah, good idea.
you know, don't worry if your primary or secondary one breaks. You always have backups. That's about it.
Okay, John, it's over to you.
Well, we've come to the end of the show. Well, nearly. There's actually 4 minutes left, but we've run out of worldly things to say. Nothing exciting happening in California. No droughts, no fires, no. Gosh.
No, can't think of anything except besides the cold. That's about as exciting as I get.
Cold.
It's cold.
Cold.
It's 60 degrees right now.
I was in California back in 1986, and we were on the beach. There was a gang of us Brits over there. We were working over there for 2.5, 3 months, and we went down to the beach in California. Which is trying to think where Cannery Row is. Can't think of the name of the place now. Anyway, and we're on the beach playing football, and all the bloody locals are wearing fur coats and things. And we're thinking, madness. To us, it was warm. To you, like, it was cold. Anyway, so it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from our guest from California. Whereabouts in California are you?
The city around LA, Los Angeles airport. So.
All right, so you're near LAX.
Yes.
It's goodbye from our correspondent up in the Rose Garden in Scotland.
I beg your pardon?
I couldn't promise you.
I couldn't promise you a Rose Garden, but never mind. You'll have to look back and give us. You'll have to sing it for us next week.
Oh,
It's goodbye from Wiltshire, near Stonehenge, or the key place on the canal, Devizes. And it's goodbye from the West Midlands here in Solihull. So it's goodbye for now. Bye.
Bye.
oh.